Since 2015, Jared Stillman has rocked Nashville sports.
That team freaking stinks.
And now he's back. The takes are hotter than ever.
I mean, let's be honest, he just can't coach.
Welcome to Stillman and Company.
Stillman and Company on the 440 Sports Network. We are presented by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Here on the program, TDG says take off the slippers and hit the like button, comment, and subscribe. And that couldn't be better said myself. We're also part of the Believe YouTube network, so be sure to give us a subscribe. And again, I think my goal here for the offseason, I think we're at like 3,600 subscribers. Let's get that to 5,000. I mean, the real goal for me is about 20,000 or 200,000, but I'm looking right now, baby steps. I say 5,000. All right, let's tell you about Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical because they are the presenting sponsor of this program. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, they've been in business since 1990. They are family-owned and operated with 100% satisfaction. Of happy you'll be or the service is free. If a customer is not pleased with the work performed, Hiller will make it right. Learn more by visiting at happyhiller.com. Professional, experienced, trustworthy technicians that come into your home and leave it clean and better than they found it. And I know this because I use Hiller at my home. Care is their core value. They believe that when they care about others, everybody wins. And they'll take care of the customer on every job, every time. And again, I know this because I use Hiller at my home. That's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Proud supporters of the principals of Andy Hiller. Call the Happy Face Truck today. Okay, let's start off the top. I have a bone to pick with Titan fans. And I don't know, what level of Titan fan this is when it comes to the bone that I have to pick. But I'm just saying, I have a bone that I have to pick. And the bone in question is a question that I know the answer to. But a lot of your current opinions won't align with the answer. So the question I have for all of you Titan fans is this. How much do you care about winning? And I know what you're going to say. Oh, Jared, we care so much about winning. So then why is it that a lot of you people seem to love people inside the NFL that don't win? I mean, again, I care about winning. I look at winning and losing in the NFL, and I think that is the delineation. You win, you're good. You lose, you stink. I think it's as simple as that. And yet, when it comes to the Titans, I have been arguing back and forth with people who just don't seem to value winning. And again, everybody will say, oh no, Jared, I care about winning so much. Well, there are 3 positions in the NFL where there is a win-loss record attached to your name. General manager, head coach, and quarterback. Go to ProFootballReference.com. Click on a running back. You won't see a win-loss record for that running back. Offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators, they don't get judged by winning and losing. It is only the general manager, the head coach, and the quarterback that get pinned with winning and losing. And when it comes to the Titans, their general manager is 3-14. Their head coach is 20-36. Their quarterback is also 3-14. That's terrible. That's 90 games with the QB, the general manager, and the head coach. And their combined record is 26-64. The winning percentage on that is .289. That's awful. And you know that. And yet, you people, you guys treat me like I'm stupid for advocating guys that win, for putting a value on winning. Again, .289, that's your general manager, your head coach, and your quarterback right now. That's their win percentage. And the guys I like, you hate. Mike Mularkey, I thought he was a good head coach. John Robinson, I thought he was a good general manager. Sam Darnold, I thought he was a good quarterback. And you know what they do? They win. And yet, after they win, all a lot of people out there do, a lot of Titan fans, especially on Twitter, all they do is they tell me that those guys suck. John Robinson won 61% of his games. And apparently, according to you people, he sucks. Mike Mularkey won a playoff game. He inherited the worst team in the NFL. Won 9 games his first year, went 9-7, and he won a playoff game his second year after inheriting the worst team in the NFL. And when he got fired, Titan fans were like, yay! I'm like, he won games. Like, we just lived through, at that point in time, the Ken Whisenhunt era. They didn't win any games. Mike Mularkey becomes the coach. They win games. They fired him. They get to the playoffs. You people, yay! And then there's Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold is 31-7 over the last 2 years. And if I've learned anything over the last 2 days, it's that you people hate Sam Darnold. Here we go, Kyle. Sam Darnold was 21-34 before getting 2 loaded rosters. You know what's funny? I've gotten so many tweets that are exactly along that line about Sam Darnold would have only won 3 games with this team too, Jared. Excuse me. What is that based on? Over the last 2 years, Sam Darnold has won 82% of the games in which he has played in. And those 2 teams, loaded rosters, those loaded rosters with which Sam Darnold has quarterbacked, without Sam, and again, Sam wins 52% or 82% of the time, they win 57% of the time without him. That's the difference of 25%. So as a football team, you are 1 quarter better with Sam Darnold as your quarterback than you are without him, because Seattle and Minnesota win 25% less of the time when they have some other jabroni quarterbacking. So the quarterback who wins, you guys hate. And the quarterback who lost 14 starts last year, which is the most in the NFL, you people like. Am I crazy? Like, am I crazy? And the general manager, whom you hate, won 61% of his games. But the general manager who lost, you guys have complete and total faith in. It's a process, Jared. Mike Borgonzi knows what he's doing. They won 3 games in 2024. Borgonzi gets the job, drafts a quarterback with the number 1 overall pick, goes out and gets a left tackle in free agency, and they won the exact same amount of games in 2025. Again, I have to ask, how much does winning mean to you guys? But I figured this out. And again, goes back to last week, Don Davenport calling me hot take guy. Excuse me, I'm not the one advocating for guys who lose. I'm the one advocating for guys who win. But the reason that pointing out the fact that you guys hate people who win and are obsessed with people who lose is because it hurts people's feelings. So instead of saying, you know what, Jared may be onto something here, instead of saying, wow, they really fucked that up by not getting Sam Darnold, who just won the Super Bowl, they turned it into, oh, that's hot take guy over there. He's doing that for clicks. Really? Because if I wanted to get clicks, here's what would get clicks. The headline of this show, I bet you would get a shitload of clicks. Why Cam Ward will be better than Sam Darnold. Why the Titans are headed to the Super Bowl just like the Patriots. That's the stuff that'll get clicks. Because people want to believe that, and they'll say, this guy tells it like it is. But that's not reality. You don't want to be told that your general manager inherited a 3-win football team, had an entire offseason, drafted a quarterback with the number 1 overall pick, and won exactly 0 more games in 2025. You don't want to be told that. You don't want to believe that. You don't want to. That is called, and I looked it up today, cognitive dissonance reduction. Quote, twisting facts to reduce discomfort when the reality conflicts with beliefs. If I had told you 1 year ago today, on February 10th of 2025, that the Tennessee Titans 1 year from now would have 3 wins again and would be, by almost every metric, an equally shitty team. 1 year ago today, like Don Davenport, you would have called me hot take guy. A year ago, if I had said this team's going to win 3 games, this team fucking stinks, this team is awful, they're not going to win a single game more, you'd have said, oh, that's hot take guy going over there being all about hot takes. But I'm sorry. Is it a hot take to point out that the general manager's 3-14 and the head coach is 20-36? And to just magically hope that they're going to right the wrongs is a little delusional? There needs to be some sort of plan in place. There needs to be some sort of justification for all that belief that Mike Borgonzi knows what he's doing. So this is what I've decided I want to do. I'm not calling for Mike Borgonzi to be fired. I'm not saying Robert Saleh can't improve. I'm not doing any of that. I think they can improve. I expect them to win more than 3 games next year. So here's what I'm going to say. This is the question that I'm going to ask. How many games do you expect the Titans to win next year? And I need a number. And I need a number that today you can say, Jared, if we don't win X amount of games, it was a failure of an offseason. And that's what I want to know. Personally, I put it at 6. That is the bare minimum. If they do not win 6 games next year, then Mike Borgonzi is not a good general manager. Robert Saleh is probably the same dopey coach he was with the Jets, and Cam Ward sucks. I'm asking for 6. That's it. I'm not asking for 10. I'm not asking for 14. I'm not asking for the playoffs. I'm not asking for the Super Bowl. I'm asking for 6 wins. Is that too much to ask for? Or am I hot take guy for asking that? And the reason that I feel the need to put an arbitrary number out there is because last week, Jonathan Hutton was on the show, and I said to Hutton at the Super Bowl, I'm like, Hutton, what is the number? What is the number of games that the Titans need to win to justify Robert Saleh after his 20-36 tenure with the Jets? And Hutton was like, well, if Cam plays this way, and no. Because again, Cam's PFF grade sucks. Cam's QBR sucks. Cam's record sucks. Everything Cam did last year sucks. And you people are the ones that are like, we've got a for sure franchise quarterback, Jared. To which I say, I'm not saying Cam's not going to be a franchise quarterback. If I was betting, I would say I would bet against it. But I definitely can't say he's a franchise quarterback now. So I want a number. Instead of, well, Jared, it's not fair to pin a 0-win improvement on Mike Borgonzi. That's not fair. I want a number so that if Mike Borgonzi comes in under the number, then we know he sucks. If Robert Saleh comes in under the number, then we know he sucks. And if Robert Saleh and Mike Borgonzi and Cam Ward exceed the number, let's say they win 9 games, then we won't bitch about it at the end of the year. The way that, again, you people bitched about Mike Mularkey. That's what I'm looking for. Give me a number. One guy says, seems like Don got you upset. Upset's not the right word. I just think it's bullshit. And again, I'm not upset about it. I mean, I know that that's what people think. Like, I mean, even the intro says the takes are hotter than ever. But I think the one thing that looking at me and saying, oh, it's a hot take guy, or, oh, he does it for clicks, or, oh, I do feel like that discounts what I say. And I mean, I was the one that was banging the table for Sam Darnold. Now, you may be sick and tired of hearing that, but the guy just won the fucking Super Bowl. So I was right. And I'm the one that told you guys Rand Carthon wasn't competent. And I'm the one that told you guys the Brian Callahan Pee Wee program was horseshit. And I'm the guy that told you that L'Jarius Sneed's knees were a total disaster. And so I've seen a lot of stuff where I smell it and I'm like, that doesn't smell right. That doesn't, that. But then when you say, oh no, that's Mr. Hot Take Guy, then you're discrediting everything I've said when they're the ones wearing Titans gear and cheerleading for the new coach when he shows up. So it's not as if I like have some sort of issue. I don't. And plus, you can say whatever you want about me. Unlike them, I don't take it personally and I don't lose sleep over it. But at the same time, I mean, again, if you want to call me Hot Take Guy, what you're saying is you're saying that I am just saying horseshit in order to get people's attention, and that's not true. I believe in building the Titans to be successful. That's what I want. And I think me and the Titans want the same thing. And I think me and you want the same thing for the Titans. But again, that cognitive dissonance of, even though this narrative I'm pushing isn't backed by fact, it makes me feel better, so I'm going to push it. And I don't believe in that. Again, when I've got Carrington Harrison, my buddy works with me on Mad Dog Radio out in Kansas City, saying, hey, I'm hearing from people here in Kansas City that Sneed's knees are really that bad. And you may say they're not that bad, but my advice to L'Jarius Sneed is take the money, because what I've heard is they're really that bad. That is a huge red flag to me. But again, I think that would be, I'm a Hot Take Guy. So again, give me a number. And I want you guys to stand by this number. John says 7 with a few close losses. I don't need the close losses. I just need wins. This is the bare minimum. Smooth says at least 6 wins in 2026. 6. If they win 5 games, I'll tell you this right now. If I own the team and they won 5 games and we didn't have some sort of massive amounts of injuries or something crazy happen, I'm firing the general manager and I'm firing the coach. Because I'm not doing this, well, you know, that first year was really bad and they didn't really improve much, but let's pretend that Brian Callahan's a good coach, so that'll convince us to give him a second year, and now we've just wasted another year of our lives. I'm not doing that. Again, you people can say whatever you want about Cam Ward. You guys can look at however many highlights that he had over the season and say, oh my God, he's so good. Look at the numbers. Look at things that matter. He stunk last season. Cam played great against the Seahawks defense. Yeah, how'd he do against the Patriot defense? You know, when he fumbled the ball out of his hand and Kaylavon Chason picked it up and scored a touchdown? Not very good, Bob. So, again, give me the numbers now. Because you guys are going to sit here, again, 1 year from today, if they win 4 games, I don't want to hear about how Robert Saleh's hands were tied and about how Cam Ward's still the future. So I'm going with 6. And again, 6 wins is not a lot to ask for in the NFL. MB says, does Sam Darnold play by himself? Last time I checked, he's played on teams with outstanding defenses and solid offenses. He threw for 200 yards and 50% passing in the Super Bowl. You have to get over this BS. First of all, the real Super Bowl was the NFC title game. Sam Darnold threw for 364 and 3 touchdowns. Secondly, over the last 2 years, Sam Darnold has won 82% of his games. That is a fact. Over 2 years, including the playoffs, he is 31-7. Again, you keep saying whatever makes you feel better. Well, he didn't light it up in the Super Bowl, so he's no good. It was all about the team. First of all, everybody has to have teammates to win a Super Bowl. Tom Brady had to have Malcolm Butler pick a pass off at the 1-yard line, or Adam Vinatieri to drill a kick in the snow in order to win some of his Super Bowls. Tom Brady's pretty damn good. This idea that Sam Darnold sucks or that Sam Darnold was a passenger is just bullshit. His team was 10-7 last year and missed the playoffs. And the reason they missed the playoffs was because the team that he used to play for, who missed the playoffs this year, came in and beat them in December with Sam as the starting quarterback. So, again, I'm tired of doing this shit. Like, I'm tired of Titan fans telling me, but Jared, we're planning for the future. And me saying, okay, so then why is Jeffrey Simmons still on the team? Let me explain something. When I was at the Super Bowl, I talked to somebody. I'm trying to think of the right way to say this. When I was at the Super Bowl, I'm trying to think if I should say who this person's with or not. Fuck it. When I was at the Super Bowl, I talked to somebody with the Titans. And they told me, they said, well, Sam Darnold, that's a right now fix, and this team is building for the long-term future of the Titans for 6 and 7 years. We're not worried about 2, 3. I mean, we're worried about 6 or 7 years. And I said, that sounds good. Like, the idea of building a team and being sustainable for a decade, that sounds good. That's not really reality in the NFL. Now, if you have Josh Allen or you have Mahomes or you have Tom Brady, then you can be good for about 10 years. But that's a pretty big if, because there's not a lot of Tom Brady's out there. There's not a lot of Mahomeses out there. And this guy, according to all the draft gurus and people inside the NFL, was not rated like a Tom Brady or like a Mahomes or an Allen, or a Caleb Williams or a Joe Burrow or a coming out of college. He was there with Bo Nix and Michael Penix. That's how they viewed Cam Ward coming out. And again, I don't understand this like planning 6 and 7 year thing, because no general manager gets 6 years to build a team in the NFL. No head coach gets 6 years to establish a culture in the NFL. No quarterback gets 6 years, because the quarterback contract is 4 with a 5th year option, and you have to decide on the 5th year after year 3. So in today's NFL, the idea of drafting Terry Bradshaw, putting him on the bench, and then eventually unleashing him and having a dynasty, that just doesn't make any sense given the current conditions of the CBA. And I don't understand how you can be building for the future, but then also hanging on to Jeffrey Simmons, who's the only player of value on your team, whose value is at the highest, and who's 28 years old. So if you're planning for 5 or 6 years down the road, Jeffrey Simmons will be 33 years old. He'll be 35 years old. Jeffrey Simmons, and I like Jeffrey Simmons, the player this year. He was great. That's his prime. That's his peak. He's 28. Guess who else is 28? Sam Darnold. So you guys can say whatever you want about how it makes you feel, but I don't do that. So that's why I need a number. I need a number to justify Borgonzi, to justify Saleh, to justify Cam. And again, this is the bare minimum. Teams who win 6 games traditionally suck and fire their coach. Mike Vrabel's last year here, they won 6 games. That's all I'm asking for. I go 6. That's it. So I'm sorry, but what I am not doing is I am not doing what we did last year, where, again, we let our feelings just completely ignore the facts. Again, I've actually pulled out tweets from people that were saying Sam Darnold sucked. I went and pulled out those tweets because last year, when it came combine time, I was talking about Sam, and you people were talking about Cam, and all I heard was Darnold sucks. He's not that good. And if I had told you on that day that he would be holding the Vince Lombardi trophy, you would have said no fucking way. And now Sam Darnold is a Super Bowl champion. So now you diminish that and say, well, I mean, he wouldn't have done any of that here. And again, there's nothing to base that off of. Do I think the Titans would have won the Super Bowl with Sam Darnold quarterback? No, I don't. Would they be 3-14? It's so unrealistic Believable. And TDG, got to give him credit, stays on brand, says, are we going to pretend that that wasn't the Legion of Boom 2.0? The Seahawks defense was very, very good. But Matthew Stafford moved the ball up and down the field on them in 2 games late in the year. And so that was not a 2000 Ravens defense. The Texans defense was a 2000 Ravens defense. And the only reason the Texans defense lost to the Patriots is because C.J. Stroud crapped the ball out of his ass 3 times, and Sam Darnold didn't turn it over once in the playoffs. And not turning the football over is kind of a big deal when it comes to playing quarterback. So, I'm sorry. I do not care about your feelings about how Borgonzi is doing, your feelings about why Robert Saleh is 20 and 36, your feelings about Cam Ward and how you know he's a franchise quarterback, despite the facts that he has the lowest passing grade according to PFF, the lowest QBR according to ESPN, and lost 14 games, the most amongst NFL starting quarterbacks last year. I don't care about your feelings. Your feelings do not equal the Titans competing for the Super Bowl. So, we need a number. And again, coaches never like being pinned in a corner saying, hey, what are the expectations this year? Well, our expectations are that we get better every week, because they don't want to put themselves on the spot to where if Robert Saleh says, we need to win 9 games this year, that when they go 7 and 10, it's like, well, you said you needed to win. They don't like doing that. But because you people cannot handle the subjective at all, I need a number that's objective. And I'm going with 6. 6 wins. That's what they need. 6 wins. So that's where I sit. The second thing, and I know you won't believe this when I say this, but I am kind of ready to move on from the Sam Darnold thing to a certain extent. Because I did tell everybody, including the Titans themselves, that I would become insufferable if he won the Super Bowl. And I think a lot of you didn't think that was possible. But I am kind of ready to move off of it, except that, again, all I'm looking for is for people, including the Titans themselves, to say, you know what, Jared? You were right. You know what, Jared? You were right. Sam Darnold was a good quarterback. You were banging the table for Sam Darnold against Tua. You were banging the table for Sam Darnold last offseason. You were right. That's all I'm looking for. And a lot of you people just can't do that. And I think the Titans would be hesitant to do that. But that's what I'm looking for. And then once everybody admits it, that, you know what, we fucked that up, then I can move on. But the reason I can't is because of the utter garbage that I have been hearing regarding this situation. Whether it is Sam would have only won 3 games with this team anyway. Sam would have only won 5 or 6 games with this team. You don't know that. Again, I don't know how many games they would have won. I assume it wouldn't have been 14 like they did in the regular season in Seattle. And I assume it wouldn't have been the Super Bowl. But I think there's a chance they would have won 9 or 10 games with Sam Darnold at quarterback. Because I don't know where we've gotten to this point, but the position that does matter the most in football is quarterback. Oh, that team in Seattle was so good, Jared. That team, I mean, they were unstoppable. Unstoppable other than the fact that they got stopped and didn't make the playoffs last year. They get Sam Darnold, they win the Super Bowl. But then there's also just all the shit I'm hearing in which people have zero facts or reports to back it up. But again, it makes you feel better, so you perpetuate it. And with this, I want to start with Kaharski because I heard Kaharski yesterday on a football show. And I would hope that Paul Kaharski knows how NFL transactions work. He's covered the league for 30 years. He votes on the Pro Football Hall of Fame, although apparently it does feel like the people that vote on the Pro Football Hall of Fame don't have a fucking clue right now. But he said yesterday on a football show that, I mean, Sam Darnold, why would he have wanted to come to the Titans? Take a look.
And I don't think Sam Darnold's coming here. I think that, the biggest Sam Darnold guy in town thinks like the Titans. I mean, just this thing like, well, why not keep Derrick Henry? Well, because Derrick Henry had a say in the matter. Why not get Sam Darnold? Well, first off, Sam Darnold had a say in the matter. Seattle's a much better place to go for Sam Darnold.
Okay. The second thing that he then said was about, maybe they could have paid him money, but why would you do that?
Now, I always say you can win with money, but I don't know that the Titans are going to blow the socks off of him financially in order to get him here when they've got the first pick in the draft and they think that Cam Ward's going to be pretty damn good.
Oh, okay. So, they could have paid him, but, why would you do that? So a lot of people want to believe that Sam Darnold wouldn't have wanted to come to the Titans, and Sam Darnold has a say in that. And I feel like I've debunked this 10 million times, but apparently a guy who votes on the Pro Football Hall of Fame doesn't understand how transactions in the NFL works. Number one, let's forget about the fact that I know Sam Darnold wanted to be a Titan. I, in fact, looked it up today. I was told on January 28th of last year from someone in his camp, quote, he loves Nashville. Remember all the times we talked about why would coaches want to take this job? Well, Nashville's just such a great city. Well, players feel that way too. State income tax kind of matters. But it wasn't as if Sam Darnold, when he was looking for a team, was going to be a college quarterback choosing Alabama and Michigan and Ohio State. Chances are you're going to a team that's not very good because the team that you're going to doesn't have a quarterback. And the team that he went to didn't make the playoffs last year. But forget about that. Let's forget about the fact that I know that Sam wanted to be here. Let's get to number two. Surely Kaharski knows how the franchise tag works in the NFL, right? This is what separates the NBA from the NFL. The ability to pay somebody big after 3 years under contract, but you don't have to pay them until after year 6 because rookie deals are 4-year deals. If they're in the first round, it's a 5th-year option, and then you can franchise tag them. If it's a 2nd-round pick, 3rd-round pick, 4th-round pick, it's a 4-year deal, 2 franchise tags. So your movement as an NFL player is restricted for the first 6 years you are in the NFL. So if Minnesota didn't want Darnold, and clearly they didn't, they could have tagged him and traded him anywhere. And if anybody was willing to make that trade, they would have done it. Because something in return is better than nothing in return. And surely Paul knows that. So every time he's like, I don't think Darnold would have wanted to come here, Darnold would have had a say in it, I'm like, do you not know how the franchise tag works? And the third thing goes back to the money element of this. Seattle was the only team that wanted Darnold. Shocking. The only team of the quarterback carousel teams this year, the Giants, the Titans, the Raiders, the Jets, the Browns, the only team with a general manager worth a shit in the NFL that was looking for a quarterback was the only guy who wanted the only good quarterback that was out there. And I actually think that Darnold was the Rams' plan B if Matthew Stafford went to the Raiders or to the Giants. But the contract Seattle gave Darnold is not a good contract. It is 3 years and $100.5 million. But it's really, because guaranteed money is what matters, it's really a 1-year, $37.5 million contract. I have been on record, and I said my offer to Darnold would have been 4 over 164. 82 guaranteed at signing with a practical guarantee, because I would have put something in there that the 3rd year guarantees on the 2nd day of the league year of the 2nd year. So it's a practical guarantee of $120 million. Now you may say that is so stupid, but I wanted that quarterback. Now ask yourself this. If you were that quarterback and you had $37.5 million over here, or 120 million over here, which one would you take? And you're lying if you would say that you would take the 37.5 million. So the Titans had the option to sign Sam Darnold and or trade for Sam Darnold, and they didn't, because they are either too cheap or they didn't think he was good enough, not because they couldn't. And if they don't think he's good enough, then they fucked up. And again, that's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking for from a lot of you fans, and that's what I'm looking for from that's what I'm looking for from the Titans. It's as Bill Belichick said in his book, I fucked up. Take a look.
4 words essential to an accountable, healthy, improving operation that is all about sustained success. 4 words I made sure I said more than any of my assistants or players. Quote, I fucked that up, unquote. 4 words that will delight your colleagues, especially any who report to you, until they realize that the expectation embedded in the ownership of an error is that they reciprocate when it's their turn. You got to say it loud enough for everyone to hear, at least for everyone who is affected by your mistake. It's especially important for people to hear it from their boss. As a head coach, it stands to reason that I should say it the most and loudest. I have the most responsibility and should be the most accountable for high performance.
Okay. If I'm the coach, if I'm the general manager, that's all I want to hear. I just want to hear we fucked up, because they did. Now, some other things, because again, I'm going to have to dispel this. And I don't want to spend all day defending Sam Darnold, because I know that if I do, you guys are going to get mad and people are going to, but I'm sick and tired of the glazing of people that don't win and the disregarding people who do win. So one thing that a lot of people keep saying is that Seattle was loaded. Oh my God. Look at how good Seattle was, Jared. It had nothing to do with Sam Darnold. It was all about how loaded that Seattle roster was. So I looked it up this morning, because I don't think anybody thought Seattle was going to win the Super Bowl this year. Did you? Again, I'm the guy who's been pumping Sam Darnold's tires, and I didn't think Sam Darnold was going to win the Super Bowl. So I looked it up. I searched preseason power rankings. This is September 2nd. So after the Micah Parsons trade had been made, Parsons to the Packers, Dallas falls back a little bit, and here are the power rankings. Where do you think the Seahawks landed on the list? 19th. This is NFL.com. Seattle was 19th coming into the season, according to NFL.com. The bottom half of the league. They were behind the Bengals, who were 10th. They were behind the Vikings, who were 12th. The Steelers, who were 16th. They were behind the Arizona fucking Cardinals, who were 17th. That roster is so loaded. That defense is so good. That team is so unstoppable that coming into the year, people thought they were the 19th best team in the NFL. The best part, this guy at NFL.com wrote, talking about how they brought in Clint Kubiak and Mike McDonald wants to be a tough team. Quote, but bringing in Sam Darnold and signing Cooper Kupp were slightly curious moves to me. Both can help make this offense better, but are they upgrades over their predecessors? Again, Sam's not that good. Uh-huh. Okay. 19th. How about JSN? Because anytime I would talk about Darnold, last year it was, Jared. He's got Justin Jefferson that he's throwing the ball to. It's not because of him. Now, Justin Jefferson played for the Vikings, and they won 9 games this year, and he went to the Super Bowl last week and just threw his quarterback under the bus. But other than that, it was all about Jefferson and nothing to do with Darnold. Do you know where JSN ranked as far as wide receivers are concerned going into the season? Again, forget about what you think now. That's narrative spinning. That's revisionist history. Forget about that. I looked it up today. And you know what I decided to use? I don't know why, because these are all subjective anyways. I used the Madden football rankings. I think the Madden football video game while I would never say that it defines somebody's speed because there are metrics that can do that, like a 40 time, I think Madden Football's rankings going into the season give us a pretty good idea of where these guys stood as far as public perception was concerned going into the year. Jackson Smith and Jigba coming into the season was not even a top 10 wide receiver on Madden Football. Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Amon-Ra St. Brown, CeeDee Lamb, Tyreek Hill, Terry McLaurin, A.J. Brown, Mike Evans, Drake London, Devontae Adams. Those were your top 10 receivers. Drake London. According to Madden Football, JSN was considered the 22nd best wide receiver with an overall grade of 86, 2 whole points ahead of Ladd McConkey and Jerry Jeudy. Last year, according to Pro Football Focus, the Seahawks offensive line ranked 32nd in the NFL. And at the end of the year, they were ranked 15th this year. Again, when you tell me loaded, I don't think an offensive line ranked 15th is loaded. And then I ask you this. Who are the best players in the Seahawks? This unbelievably loaded team, this unstoppable team, this just all-time great team, which I don't think the Seahawks are, by the way. But who are their best players? JSN won, and I just documented how much better JSN has been since they acquired Sam Darnold to be their quarterback. Devin Witherspoon, too. Devin Witherspoon's awesome. Top of the draft kind of guy. Who's number 3? Nicky Manwari. By the way, Nicky Manwari was picked 35th. A selection owned by, wait a minute for it. Wait. The Titans. The idea that the Seahawks were just absolutely loaded, that this is some sort of all-time great team, and Sam Darnold is simply a passenger, is total revisionist history that is believed by some because they don't want to admit that they were wrong. Sam Darnold got them to the Super Bowl with a 364-yard performance and 3 touchdowns against the LA Rams in the NFC title game. Stop making shit up to make you feel better. Again, this time last year, you guys told me Sam Darnold couldn't win in the playoffs. Well, he won 3 times in the playoffs. Now you're telling me because he only threw for 200 yards in a game in which I thought very early on it was obvious. In order for New England to win, they were going to have to turn the ball over. He made sure he didn't turn it over, though he did try to turn it over right before the half, and it almost gave me a heart palpitation. So, enough. Here we go. Stillman's entire obtuse angle about signing Sam Darnold last year is aggravating because it assumes that Darnold wanted to come to Tennessee. He chose where he wanted to play. Have I not? Do you people not know how this works? I don't get it. Like, I don't get it. Somebody help me out here. Like, what? I just spent 10 minutes explaining it. I've explained it 1,000 times. L'Jarius Sneed was not a free agent. L'Jarius Sneed had been franchise tagged by the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Kansas City Chiefs didn't want him, but they didn't want to lose him for nothing, so they tagged him and traded him to you. Minnesota didn't want to lose Sam Darnold for nothing. They would have loved to get something in return for him. And if I was the general manager, I would have made sure that I got Sam Darnold. You know, I actually cut this at the Super Bowl, and I texted a former general manager because I was shocked when Mike Mayock came on the show, the old general manager of the Raiders, and basically blasted my Darnold take because he's like, you don't know that they could have gotten him. And then I laid it out for him, and he was like, oh, no, that doesn't matter. This was Mike Mayock last week at the Super Bowl.
In the real world, Sam, you can chase Sam Darnold, but you got a 1 in 5 chance of getting him. And at the end of the day, You don't ever pass up on a kid that you believe in your building is going to be a franchise quarterback. Why do you think they could make that deal? I hate it when people say that, because it's like people say, well, Mike, why didn't you just trade down from 4? I'm like, well, I called the whole freaking league and nobody wanted that pick. That's why you can't do it.
When you took Cleveland Farrell?
Correct. Okay. So if you can't move down, or in the case you just made, there's other teams that wanted to talk to Sam Darnold, not just Tennessee.
But nobody wanted to trade with Minnesota, or else Minnesota would have
traded. How do you know what John Schneider would or wouldn't have done?
Well, he didn't trade with Minnesota at that point.
It doesn't matter.
So you think that he would have traded? Schneider liked him so much that if Tennessee was interested, then that may have changed the dynamic of the chase.
I think in general, in the media, we don't talk enough about understanding what the other potential possibilities are.
Okay. So Mike Mayock is a former general manager. And I'm sitting here being like, he's like, how do you know you could have gotten Sam Darnold? Well, I would have traded with Minnesota. Well, you don't know that John Schneider wouldn't have traded, and John Schneider didn't trade for Sam Darnold. In fact, the Titans did not have a quarterback at that point in time. They didn't have somebody whose feelings that they could hurt if they went after Sam Darnold and didn't get him. Remember, the Atlanta Falcons hurt Matt Ryan's feelings when they went after Deshaun Watson and they didn't get him. And Matt Ryan went to the Falcons and said, okay, now I'd like to be a Colt because you guys have disrespected me. Seattle had a quarterback. Geno Smith was their quarterback. And they executed the Geno Smith trade right before free agency opened because they knew they were going to sign Sam. The Titans didn't have a quarterback. So the Titans could have tried to trade for Sam Darnold. And trust me, Minnesota is not letting Sam Darnold sign with an NFC team and getting nothing in return instead of trading him to an AFC team who's probably not much of a threat. And yet Mike Mayock is like, you people in the media, you people always make up shit. I'm like, no, Mike, this is how the league works. And by the way, and look, I know Gruden was running the team in Vegas. So, like, Mayock was technically the general manager, but Gruden was really the GM. So maybe Mayock doesn't have to know the rules. But I love how, again, I threw out this Sam Darnold thing, and he takes it back to all the people that shit on him and Gruden for taking Cleveland Farrell with the 4th pick. I mean, does this guy know how the league works? It's amazing to me. TDG says, we're just going to ignore this guy played for 4 prior franchises. Comical. I didn't ignore it. I saw Sam play with the Carolina Panthers in 2022, and Sam Darnold played really, really well. That was when I started the Sam Darnold bandwagon, when he was a backup in San Francisco, because I thought he was really good in 2022. You people. Okay, there's a couple of rumors I want to get to that I heard out in San Francisco at the Super Bowl. Kind of reminds me of 2 years ago when I was like, one thing I heard at the Super Bowl, I heard Joe Alt is absolutely in play for the Chargers, even though the Chargers already have a left tackle. So there were 2 big rumors that I heard. I say rumors. I would say rumors as much as I would say pretty solidly sourced information. So let's get to the first one. The first one is A.J. Brown. So there's going to be a lot of noise about A.J. Brown. And I think there's going to be a lot of noise about A.J. Brown for a lot of reasons. Number one, A.J. Brown is a high-profile player who plays on a high-profile team. Number 2, A.J. Brown is never happy. Number 3, A.J. Brown has gotten older. Number 4, A.J. Brown clearly hates Jalen Hurts. And number 5, A.J. likes being the center of attention. Let's not kid ourselves. A.J. liked it when he was the center of attention before he got traded here. A.J. liked it when he spanked the goalpost after they beat the Titans. A.J. and I like A.J., and I think A.J. likes me. But A.J. Brown is the kind of guy who, well, I'll put it to you like this. A.J. doesn't want to initiate the conversation about his ex-girlfriend, but he's got no problem making sure that everybody knows that he's better off. It's like a Post Malone thing with AJ. So there's going to be a lot of noise surrounding A.J. Brown. And as soon as there's a lot of noise surrounding A.J. Brown, there's going to be Titan fans that want A.J. Brown to return to the Titans. And to be completely honest, I wouldn't rule it out. Like, if I were the Titans and A.J. Brown were to be made available, and there are a lot of these insiders that are saying A.J. may be on the move, I would probably look into that if I were the Titans. It's not happening. Like, I'm just going to tell you right now, A.J. Brown is not coming back to the Titans. I don't know if A.J. is on the move from Philadelphia or not. I don't know if A.J. has fixed his relationship with Jalen Hurts. I don't know if there is an issue between A.J. and Jalen Hurts. I don't know how A.J. feels about Nick Sirianni. I don't know how A.J. feels about Sean Mannion as the new offensive coordinator. But I know this. If A.J. Brown hits the trade market, he's not coming back to the Titans. And again, I would guarantee that, but I think A.J. probably stays in Philadelphia. And so when A.J. does stay in Philadelphia, if I were to guarantee you today that the Titans are not going to trade for A.J. Brown, it'd be easy to say, well, I mean, no shit. Like, he's already on another team. But I'm telling you, A.J. Brown and the Titans, it's not an option. That's the first rumor. The second rumor, when it comes to what I heard at the Super Bowl, surrounds that of the quarterback market. So we know the Titans are not going to be interested in quarterback, so this is more about the league than it is the Titans. But I saw a report that came out over the weekend from San Francisco from Adam Schefter. And Adam Schefter reports that the San Francisco 49ers have no interest in trading Mac Jones, their backup quarterback who's going to be on the second year of a 2-year deal. And it's not a very pretty quarterback market. There's Mendoza in the draft, and then maybe somebody talks themselves into Ty Simpson or talks themselves into Carson Beck, but it's really Fernando Mendoza at quarterback as far as the draft is concerned. And Malik Willis? I saw the report about Derek Carr. Derek Carr sucks. So Mac Jones, to me, is the best reclamation project quarterback who is technically a backup, but I think you could argue probably is one of the best 32 quarterbacks in the world. And this is a copycat league. And the thing about copycat leagues are, once something works for somebody, everybody else tries it. So it worked for the Seattle Seahawks with Sam Darnold at quarterback. So now there are going to be other teams that want to replicate the Seattle model. And the top guy, again, that I think you can get if you're in that position, assuming that Fernando Mendoza goes to the Raiders, is Mac Jones. But again, Kyle Shanahan is telling people, we will not trade Mac Jones. To which I say, baloney. I believe that is posturing. I believe that the 49ers want you to know that if you actually want Mac Jones to be your quarterback, you better knock our socks off. And here's why. I think Kyle Shanahan is tired of building up these backup quarterbacks and losing them for nothing. Sam Darnold was the backup quarterback, and he went to Minnesota for $10 million, and Kyle Shanahan got nothing in return for Sam Darnold going to Minnesota. When Mac Jones was a free agent, I think Mac Jones' team wanted to sign for 1 year, but Kyle Shanahan demanded it be a 2-year contract. Why? It's not like they were looking at this, well, down the road, maybe Mac Jones can be our quarterback, because they've already given Brock Purdy the bag. But it's because I think Kyle Shanahan wants something out of this. And I think it's a genius move for Kyle Shanahan. Because, again, if you don't draft Fernando Mendoza and you need a quarterback, your best option on the free agent market is Malik Willis. And Mac Jones is a better quarterback than Malik Willis. If Mac Jones was a free agent, after the success that Sam Darnold had last year, I think Mac Jones, and throw Daniel Jones into that too, because Daniel Jones had a lot of success. If Mac Jones was a free agent I believe the market for Mac Jones would be about $30 to $40 million a year on a 2-year deal with a bunch of teams vying for his services. Pittsburgh needs a quarterback. The Jets need a quarterback. Miami needs a quarterback. Arizona needs a quarterback, etc. So, again, the report was the 49ers are not trading Mac Jones, who's going to be on the second year of a 2-year deal. I think it's baloney. I think San Francisco is posturing. They want teams to think they don't have interest in trading Mac Jones because they are interested in trading Mac Jones. Because when they do decide to trade Mac Jones, they want the maximum value. And the way to get the maximum value is to have the leverage that we don't even want to trade him anyways. You have to blow our socks off. So my prediction is Mac Jones will be traded to an AFC team for a 3rd-round pick. And then he'll sign a 2-year contract wherever he ends up going for about $70 million total. And there may be an option for a 3rd year in case he's that guy with more money. I don't know. I think when they get to the combine in Indianapolis, Kyle Shanahan will start the conversations at a 2nd-round pick for Mac Jones. But in the end, I think he'll take a 3rd. And if I was Pittsburgh or if I were the Jets, I would do that. I would trade a 3rd-round draft choice to make Mac Jones my starting quarterback. My guess, it'll be the Jets. Because Aaron Glenn is so on the hot seat. They have to win right now. So my prediction is the Jets deal a 3rd-round pick, and the Jets have a boatload of picks. And they will deal a 3rd-round pick to San Francisco for Mac Jones, and then they'll give Mac Jones a contract extension. That's my best guess. All right, let's get back into some of your comments today. Again, you guys tell me how many games the Titans need to win, since you guys just sit there and praise Mike Borgonzi and praise Cam Ward and praise Robert Saleh, even though Borgonzi and Cam went a combined 3-14 last year. And Saleh's 20-36 as a coach. That's fine, but I'm not having the same conversation this time next year. TDG says Jones is cheeks. Hey, TDG, you said that about Sam Darnold. How is Sam Darnold doing now? That's why. Crazy. Just crazy. One person says, Sam Darnold stunk for years. You're no credible football mind. You are a hot take guy. Yeah, I know. What a hot take. I think they should sign Sam Darnold. He wins the Super Bowl. You people say that's a hot take. You guys wanted to draft Cam Ward, who, again, all the gurus and the experts had in the Bo Nix, J.J. McCarthy tier, and you guys think he's going to be Mahomes. Which one's the hot take? Kyle says Jared is in Delulu land, and he can't figure out why he's all alone. That's not how I feel. I can't figure out why you people won't just say, yeah, we got it wrong. That's all I'm looking for. Again, Bill, just tell me, what's the most important thing you can say to somebody?
4 words essential to an accountable, healthy, improving operation that is all about sustained success. 4 words I made sure I said more than any of my assistants or players. Quote, I fucked that up. Unquote. 4 words that will delight your colleagues, especially any who report to you, until they realize that the expectation embedded in the ownership of an error is that they reciprocate when it's their turn. You got to say it loud enough for everyone to hear, at least for everyone who is affected by your mistake. It's especially important for people to hear it from their boss. As a head coach, it stands to reason that I should say it the most and loudest. I have the most responsibility and should be the most accountable for high performance.
Okay. Again, that's all I want to hear. I fucked up. Like, if I own the Titans, and again, I am a believer that you let the general manager do his job, But if I own the Titans and Sam Darnold won the Super Bowl and I won 3 games with Cam Ward at quarterback after you told me, no, Mr. Stillman, well, Sam sucks. We got to go with Cam. If my general manager didn't look at me and say, I fucked that up, then I would know that I really do need a new general manager. Because that means that you can't see the forest from the trees. You're also the guy that wanted Matt Nagy. Has Nagy even been a finalist for any other head coaching job since he was fired, besides with his buddy Borgonzi in Tennessee? I said I would have been happy with Matt Nagy. The guy I wanted was Arthur Smith. And apparently nobody wants Arthur Smith to even be their offensive coordinator. I don't understand that. I don't understand how Titans fans thought that Arthur Smith wasn't any good as an offensive coordinator when he coordinated the best offense the Titans have ever had. But again, I just don't know how some of you people think the things that you think. But that's okay. You guys keep saying that Sam Darnold sucks and it's just a product of the Seahawks, even though they didn't make the playoffs last year. And that Cam Ward is for sure Mahomes, and that Borgonzi, even though he can't win any games, is a great general manager. You keep telling yourself what you want to know. Again, it sounds like for the most part, everybody has decided this team needs to win 6, 7, or 8 games next year. And so we'll hold them to that. Again, the number is 6. That's it for us. Like and subscribe. Tell your friends. Again, we want to get that subscription number up to 5,000. We're at 3,600 right now. Let's get that up to 5,000. Tell your friends. Tell everybody to like and subscribe. That's it for us, Stillman and Company. We're back live tomorrow at 2 o'clock.